Så kan I huske hele Coffeezilla-skandalen, eller det er faktisk Logan Paul-skandalen. Det var Coffeezilla, der exposed ham, på grund af, at han havde det her crypto zoo, de her dyre animal crypto tokens, som han scammede folk med.
Logan Paul is refunding people he scammed if
nu siger han, at han endelig har betalt dem tilbage.
They promised to stop suing him for the vastly larger amount he may owe them. And honestly,
ja, det er ret sygt det her. Det er allerede kommet frem. Han tilbyder at betale tilbage, men hvis man tager imod den her tilbagebetaling, så skriver man under på en kontrakt, hvor at man siger, tak for de her penge, jeg vil ikke sagsøge dig. Er det ikke sindssygt? Man skriver under på, at man ikke sagsøger ham, og så tager man imod penge, som ikke er lige så mange penge, som dem han egentlig skylder.
Honestly, I'm conflicted. Because on the one hand, victims getting money is always great. And I'm proud that our investigation led to some real-world consequences. But I can't pretend that things are fixed or fine for people who entrusted me with their story when that's just not true. So here's the real, more complicated story in 3 parts. The refund offer, the zoo tokens, the lawsuit, starting with the most important part. And if you get one thing from this story, this should be it. These are the estimated damages in Crypto Zoo.
$18,5 million.
$18.5 million, which comes from a combination of Zoocoin and NFT sales. And then this much smaller percentage of that pie is what Logan is actually offering to refund. On the condition, though, that all of the people who spent the last year suing him for the larger damages drop their case. So that's a refund of only 12% to drop 100% of the case that, as far as I can tell, Logan may be losing. Put in that light, then, this refund starts to look less like a good faith attempt to make things right and more like a cynical bargaining chip to avoid getting in even more trouble. And a careful look at these refunds conditions show that Logan is even less serious of a person you may give him credit for. Logan is offering only a 1-month claim window for this refund, given a year after waiting, and hidden in this wall of text is the most shocking part, which is that he's not releasing the Crypto Zoo game at all.
Ja, det kommer aldrig nogensinde til at blive frigivet, det her spil, som han jo har sagt flere gange, at han vil få det udviklet, og det ene og det andet.
I know we all kind of knew that, but is actually insane, because that's the thing. To be clear, he's sold millions of dollars of NFTs for, and tens of millions of dollars of in-game Crypto Zoo tokens for. I knew he wasn't going to make it, right? We all get that. But I watched for 3 years as Logan's fans, and that's what these investors were. They were fans of Logan Paul. They spent 3 years begging this guy to make this game. And the entire time, he told them he was working on it.
Yeah, it's coming.
And I thought,
men det gjorde det bare aldrig.
Even at my most pessimistic, that Logan would at least crap out some abomination that he described as a game that limped past our lowest collective expectations. But I was wrong. I mean, I wasn't wrong the first time he said I was wrong when he said he was going to still finish the game. I was wrong that he was going to do it at all.
But even after 12 months of work, you've still managed to overlook one crucial piece of information. See, even though I've said...
den kan jeg godt huske den video her, hvor han bare sådan totalt prøvede at klappe tilbage til Coffeezilla, og det virkede bare slet ikke.
It's coming so many times, you've assumed that Crypto Zoo isn't being made. Who are you to decide when the development timeline ends? Trust me, Crypto Zoo is coming. I will make damn sure of it.
Okay, det er et bad look. Okay, det er træls at have det til at ligge derude på internettet.
Trust me, Crypto Zoo is coming. I will make damn sure of it.
It's coming. I will make damn sure of it. Yeah, okay.
Oops. So much for making damn sure of it, because there's no game. This is what makes this such a massive con. This
Fuck, det er træls at det klip til at ligge derude.
Guy sold millions in NFTs, tens of millions of zoo tokens, and he's not even going to release the thing he promised this whole time. This is why it's such a slap in the face. These investors spent 3 years waiting for a game. Not only that, 2 years waiting for an update, which he never gave, and then a year suing him. And after all of that, all he offers is a 12% refund, no game, 30 days to accept. So look.
Ja, det er vildt. Man køber de her tokens, man har brugt rigtig mange penge på det, man forventer, at der kommer et spil, så man måske endda kan tjene lidt penge på det. Det er jo det, man ligesom satser. Man får så 12% af pengene tilbage. Man får ikke noget spil. Man har en måned til at beslutte det, og man kan ikke sagsøge. Altså, det er godt nok... Det er en trøstepræmie.
Look, Logan's already taking heat for making good on a promise that he made a year late, but that's not even true. He's not making good on this promise because it's not the same promise. Last year, what he promised was no strings attached buyback.
Buybacks for all.
And you get a game. This year, it's please drop your lawsuit and you don't get a game. Which is incredible to me that there are influencers out there like KSI.
Jeg så godt KSI var inde og have hans ryg her.
This around,
og det backfired.
Like a win for Logan Paul. Like he's some sort of hero for offering a year late, half-baked settlement offer.
Lige præcis. Altså, hvordan er det et win? Jeg så godt det her på Twitter, eller hvad jeg nu vil kalde det, X, at han var inde og var sådan lidt, hvad siger haterne så nu? Han gjorde det. Logan Paul var bare sådan lidt, ja, han tilbød sådan nærmest en 10. af pengene. Spillet udkommer ikke, og nej, du må ikke sagsøge ham, og altså, det virker, ja, det er sgu slattent.
KSI says, what will the haters say now? I don't know. How about where's the game? Where's the art? Where's the millions invested? Where's the motivation for this tweet? Oh, wait. KSI is a co-founder with Logan and Prime. So, of course, that
selvfølgelig har han hans ryg.
Makes KSI Logan's new biggest.
For man hader det her. For jeg ved, KSI hader det. Han havde jo, der går jo den der historie, der var sådan en podcast-historie, hvor han åbnede op omkring, at KSI overvejede sådan en aften før release of Prime, om han skulle trække sig ud, fordi han var usikker på hele det her samarbejde, og usikker på Logan Paul. Fordi at Logan Paul er involveret i mange shit-sager. Så selvfølgelig vil han prøve at få Logan til at se bedre ud, fordi at KSI ved godt, at han er fuldstændig fedtet ind i Logan Paul. Så hver gang Logan Paul kommer til at se dum ud, så ser KSI også dum ud.
Fan. But seeing as how Logan treats his biggest fans, don't say I didn't warn you. So that's part one, the refund. Now part two is the zoo tokens. Remember, there were two parts to CryptoZoo. The zoo tokens and egg.
Jeg synes faktisk, den der idé med æggene var meget fedt.
NFTs. Now, the tokens were the vast.
Zoo trading volume the first 60 days.
Amount of damages that were actually caused, while the NFT sales were much lower. Logan conveniently wants to refund this much smaller part of his game, the NFTs, while pretending that these zoo tokens were never a real part. They were just gambling. Now, this was sort of less bad when the game was still gonna come out because, you know, it made some sense. Maybe you'd still have these tokens, but now it makes no sense at all. From Logan's statement, this buyback is a way for me to make whole those who intended to play CryptoZoo. The buyback is not intended to compensate those who gambled on the crypto market and lost. So he's describing people who bought his in-game currency as gamblers. But that's confusing because the whole point of these zoo tokens was to buy the egg NFTs and play the game. That's literally how it worked according to him.
Så hans argumentation for ikke at betale alt tilbage, det er dem, der bare har prøvet at gamble og vil tjene penge på det og spille kryptomarkedet, ligesom aktiemarkedet. Dem kan han ikke erstatte fuldt. Han kan kun give en brøkdel af prisen. Men det som Coffeezilla siger, og det bliver meget komplekst nu, det er, at alle dem, der køber zoo tokens, de har jo ikke nødvendigvis købt dem for at gamble, de har købt dem, fordi man skal bruge zoo tokens for at købe æggene, som var en del af spillet.
So instead, he calls people gamblers, despite also saying, quote, Zoo Token was created to support the CryptoZoo game and its players. It was, quote, not intended to be an investment vehicle. So how can he say that, then turn around and say people who bought this were gambling? If it's not an investment, how can you refund people who intended to play CryptoZoo if you don't refund people who bought the token that was, quote, created to support the CryptoZoo game?
Men det værste, det er, at må ikke folk, de bliver lidt tvunget til at tage imod den her refund, han kommer med. Fordi at, altså der er jo ingen incitament, der er jo ikke noget som helst, der peger imod, at man bare skal holde fast i de her tokens eller æg, fordi spillet kommer på et tidspunkt, og så kan det være, at de flyver tilbage til den samme værdi, eller i hvert fald i nærheden. Fordi nej, uanset hvor mange af de her æg eller zoo tokens du holder på, spillet er jo officielt dødt nu. Det kommer aldrig. Så nu skal du jo bare have et eller andet værdi ud af de her tokens, som jo ikke er en skid værd, fordi spillet ikke kommer alligevel. Og så er det jo, man tager imod de der, altså bare et eller andet form for penge af Logan Paul, og så må du ikke sagsøge ham.
You can't. It makes no sense. And this is why I say this isn't even close to a full refund. And now that he's abandoning the game, what we actually have is millions of dollars of in-game currency Logan sold that he won't pay back. Which brings us to the final part of this story. The third part, the lawsuit. After telling all his fans that they were gamblers who lost, Logan has one final surprise. He says, quote, I have filed a lawsuit in federal court in Texas to hold these bad actors accountable.
Ja. Så dem, der snød Logan Paul, det ret skal også være ret. Han blev jo også totalt scammed, fordi der var nogle dårlige skuespillere, som påstod, at de udviklede hans spil, men de tog egentlig bare penge fra ham. Dem sagsøger Logan.
Who ruined CryptoZoo. But what Logan doesn't tell you is that Texas lawsuit is something he's being sued in already.
Hvad? Bliver han også sagsøgt?
The defendant in the lawsuit that he links in his tweet.
Så det er ham, der bliver sagsøgt i linket? Så det er ikke ham, der sagsøger?
He's just cross-suing his co-defendants. Like, he's already being sued, and he's just re-suing the same
Så han sagsøger dem tilbage.
Guys who are already being sued. And who are these secret bad actors Logan's gonna hold accountable anyways? Turns out it's his employees he hired, Eddie Ibanez and Crypto King, which all of us already knew because I investigated the story a year ago. But imagine my surprise when Logan Paul tries to rewrite my investigation to pretend he did all the work himself and uncovered the real scam of CryptoZoo while simultaneously trying to erase his part in it. He says, and I find this very funny because I spent a year on that story, quote, "This lawsuit is the result of an exhaustive investigation that included the review of the entirety of conversations. You'd be forgiven to think he was quoting my investigation. He's not."
Så Logan prøver at tage hæderen for, at han har undersøgt det her i dybden og fundet ud af, at de her dårlige skuespillere skammede ham og det ene og det andet, men det var jo egentlig Fortsætter, der i sin tid gjorde det for Logan.
Copied it and tried to rewrite it to make himself look good. In this lawsuit, he says things like, "Hey guys, turns out Eddie Ibanez's entire backstory was a fabrication, including the MIT NFL story. Can you believe it?" It's like, yeah.
Det var det Fortsætter, han kom frem til.
Yeah, we know. And then he goes, "Yeah, well, you won't believe what I discovered. Crypto King secretly sold tokens." Yeah, we know. Logan just shamelessly rips off my work claim for claim without citing me. I mean, he says things like, Mr. Greenbaum would later admit that he made millions of dollars through his surreptitious sales of Zoo tokens. But where did Logan find that admission? Was it perhaps when he investigated my video? Time and time again, this lawsuit copies my work, but is embarrassed to cite it. So they even have to say things like, based on public reports.
Public reports, a.k.a. Fortsætter.
What public report? Mr. Ibanez made approximately $1.7 million from selling Zoo tokens. I could swear I've heard that before. And for
Shit, så en af de der scammers, der de tjent 12 millioner danske kroner på at sælge Zoo tokens, da spillet udkom, og så bare forlade det.
My calculations, he made about $1.7 million. Now look, I don't usually mind people using my work, but it's kind of a little strange that Logan is simultaneously trying to discredit my work, saying this lawsuit is not based on snippets of conversation taken out of context, a snipe at my investigation, while then stealth quoting it to pretend that they did any real legwork. And look, if you found that shameless, that he tries to steal my work and pass it off as his own investigation, this next part gets even worse. Because Logan's story this whole time has been that it's all other people's fault. You know, it's just bad actors. Everyone but him was bad. He was always well-intentioned. But his timeline contradicts him. According to his investigation, which is actually my investigation, in August and October of 2021, he learns that Jake Greenbaum and Eddie Ibanez are bad news, and he kicks them out of his team. So what does he do after that? He's gotten rid of the bad actors. Can't blame them anymore, right?
Okay.
Does he make CryptoZoo? No. For a full year before I made my video, Logan Paul had full control over his project. He admits it in his own lawsuit. And he did nothing. He said nothing. So how does he avoid accountability now?
Så i et år efter han smed de her scammers ud, der havde han selv kontrol over det hele. Det næste år, altså et år før Fortsætters første video udkom. Men der gjorde han ikke noget ved det.
Well, enter the whipping boy Jeff. That's right. Manager Jeff is making one last appearance. Logan blames Jeff for screwing up September 2021 through 2022. But you know what he doesn't mention? What he'll never mention? The real reason the project didn't get back on track is not because of Eddie, not because of Crypto King, but because Logan's own team stopped paying developers who were working on rebuilding the game. So those people stopped working on CryptoZoo. And that's when I found it. The game was dead. It had been dead for months. And that's when I made a big stink out of it.
Så den egentlige grund til, at spillet ikke blev udviklet, det var ikke fordi de der scammers ødelagde det og stjal med koden. Fordi Logan havde kontrol over produktionen et år inden Fortsætter lavede en video. Men han stoppede med at betale udviklerne af spillet, og derfor blev det ikke til noget.
Meaning,
det er meget komplekst det her.
It was 100% within Logan's power to save this game. I'm not saying nobody else did bad things, but Logan ultimately had over a year to launch it, to make things right, and he didn't. For financial reasons. Not because someone backstabbed him. He just didn't want to spend the money it would take to make things right. And you know what? That is still true now. It is still 100% within Logan Paul's power as a near billionaire with Prime to make things right. Fully right.
Og det er også det her, det er det, jeg ikke... Altså, jeg forstår godt, at mere vil have mere. Det er svært at forstå nogle gange, at... Tit så er man sådan lidt, hvis bare jeg havde 100.000, så ville jeg... Hvis bare jeg havde 1 million, så ville jeg aldrig nogensinde bede om... Så ville jeg bare... Men det er svært at forstå, at når først du kommer til de der milepæle, og så har du det her antal, du ved... Altså, jeg er overhovedet ikke rig, men jeg kan mærke det på egen krop, du ved, det der med... Jeg vil bare gerne have et sommerhus, og når jeg fik et sommerhus, så kunne jeg egentlig sådan slappe af, og så er jeg nået mit sådan økonomiske mål, og nu har jeg købt et sommerhus, har haft det i et lille års tid, og nu er jeg allerede sådan lidt, jamen så skal man jo have et nyt projekt. Skulle man købe et sommerhus mere? Skulle man til at investere nogle penge? Du ved, mere vil have mere, det er bare den menneskelige natur. Så det aspekt forstår jeg godt, men når hele ens image er blevet fuldstændig publicly trukket igennem mudderet, som at man er en kæmpe stor idiot, som Logan Paul er med hele den her møgssag. Når man så er goddamn tæt på at være billionaire på grund af Prime-selskabet, altså du må være god for rigtig mange penge. Jeg ved ikke, om du har svært ved at trække løn ud, før I sælger firmaet, eller hvordan det er bygget op, men du må være god for mange penge. Er det så stort et problem at få den her møgssag ud af verden, og så bruge, lad os sige, 5% af din... Altså hvad du er god for. 2% af hvad du er god for. Og så bare betale alle folk tilbage, bum, ud af verden med det. Du vil blive kåret som en good guy, og alt vil være godt. For du må da virkelig være mange penge værd.
With his fans who he scammed. And if he did, gave a full refund, we would all celebrate. Me foremost. But will he? Or will he try to dodge responsibility? Cheap out, rip his fans off, and avoid accountability? I think it's the latter. So, those are the 3 main points. You're all caught up. To recap, part 1, refunds. They're being used as a bargaining chip to drop a lawsuit, and so he never has to produce this game, which has been promised for 3 years, and he's sold tens of millions of dollars for. Part 2 is the zoo tokens. He's pretending they're not for a game that they definitely were for to avoid refunding people, when in fact he admits they were created to support the game. Part 3 is the lawsuit, where he stole my investigation, tried to pass it off as his own, but just cuts out the part where he did everything wrong, and leaves out the entire year where he was solely in charge of the project. No bad actors. He could have fixed everything, but he didn't, because he's cheap and doesn't want to pay anybody. Anyway, I hope that catches you up with what's been going on, and I hope we as a community can have the nuance and complexity to hold in our minds 2 things at the same time as true. 1, it's always good if victims get any money back, and we should celebrate that. However, number 2 is that doesn't mean we can't fight for 100% of what they deserve. And Logan Paul is not a hero for doing this or making things right. He's a serial scammer who's offering a minority refund as a last-ditch effort to save his wallet and his reputation.
Det er nok vildt. Det er vildt, hvor meget indflydelse Fortsætter har haft på hele det her. At vide, at Logan og hans advokater, de så dine videoer igen og igen, imens de var ved at skrive deres retssag. Ja, de har helt sikkert fået noget inspiration. Med det her, der siger han basically, ja, jeg stjal $20 million, men jeg giver 2 tilbage. Og på en eller anden måde er han ikke i fængsel. Det er rigtigt. Ej, det han egentlig siger, det er, jeg vil gerne betale jer æggene tilbage, men de der zoo tokens, som jeg lavede til, at man kunne... Altså, jeg lavede dem til at støtte spillet, så man kunne købe æggene for dem. Ja, de er ikke en rigtig del af spillet, så dem må I ikke få tilbage for. Det er virkelig sindssygt. 12% refund, 0% responsibility. Der er ikke noget game, der er færdig. Du skal droppe din retssag. Logan, jeg er så stolt af at annoncere, at jeg holder, hvad jeg lover. Ja, det føles godt nok. Hvad det hedder? KSI-X. Jeg så godt, at han blev trukket lidt med ned i mudderet, da Han blev faktisk nødt til at lave et ekstra tweet, hvor han forsvarede sig selv. What will the haters say now? Still a scam. JJ, man, you're better than this. Hvad med alle hans pump and dump schemes? Der er din kæreste, så til grin. Han er stadigvæk en scammer. I begge to retarderet. Det er da helt sikkert bare minimum, han kunne gøre. Siden hvornår er det at hate, at man kalder en ud for at have scammet folk? Wow. Haterne kan ikke sige noget, fordi han har slået kommentarerne fra. Nej, han det. Det er så åndssvagt. I dag kan jeg annoncere, at jeg leverer på mit løfte om at købe tilbage. Ja. Det er en rigtig lortesag. Ved du hvad, jeg er så pisseglad. Jeg kan huske tilbage i den der pandemitid, der tilbage i 21 og alt det der, hvor der bare var gang i tingene. NFT-tiden og alt det der, ikke også? Der var så mange, der kontaktede mig om NFT'er og krypto og alt sådan noget. I skulle have set min mail, også dengang jeg var meget aktiv på min investeringskanal. Der var så mange, der kontaktede mig. I fatter det ikke. Så mange handelsplatforme, både sådan lidt mere lokalt, europæisk, men også de store over for USA. Der var nye startups. Der var rigtig mange startups, sådan nye. Hey, vi har lige startet den her nye NFT. Hey, vi har lige startet den her nye coin. I skulle have set min mail. I fatter ikke, hvor mange der spammede mig. Især fordi jeg havde den der investeringskanal, og der var bare gang i tingene. Jeg sagde aldrig nogensinde ja til et kryptoprojekt. Jeg har faktisk kun haft én sponsor nogensinde på min investeringskanal. Og det var Skat, som gerne ville brede budskabet om, at man skulle huske at betale skat af krypto og NFT og sådan noget. Det er det eneste samarbejde, jeg nogensinde havde derovre. Men hold kæft, jeg fik tilbudt meget. Og jeg var så tæt på, og sådan, altså der var så meget hype omkring krypto og NFT, at jeg var så tæt på sådan at sætte mig ind i, nu sætter jeg mig godt og grundigt ind i det der NFT, blockchain, alt det der. Du ved, måske skal man handle på det, måske skal jeg lave nogle NFT'er selv ud af min kanal, altså måske skal man hoppe med, men jeg var samtidig sådan lidt, jeg var også bare sådan lidt, mit image og sådan noget, jeg tror altså ikke det dur, jeg vil ikke råde mod i det der. Hold kæft, jeg er glad for, at jeg aldrig gjorde det. Fordi hvor er de der NFT'er nu? Hvor er NFT-markedet nu? Det er i skraldespanden. Så er der, jeg kan se, der er nogle, altså de der crypto bros, der er sådan lidt, hvad sagde jeg? Crypto er fandme op med 80% siden et eller andet. Ja, men den måde procenter virker på. Lad os sige, at en crypto coin kostede 100. Så falder den med 90%. Den flyver hele vejen ned til, fra lad os bare sige 100 kroner for at holde det nemt. Den flyver fra 100 kroner, taber 90% værdi ned til 10 kroner. Det var der mange af de her tokens, der gjorde. Hvis ikke mere 90 plus, faldt de i værdi. Når den så ryger ned på de 10 kroner fra 100, ikke også? Det er et 90% drop. Så stiger den måske fra 10 kroner til 18 kroner. Og så er folk, det er steget 80% på et par måneder. Hvad sagde jeg? Man, vi bliver millionærer. Krypto, NFT for the win. Ja, så er det steget 80% fra 10 til 18. Men den måde procent fungerer på, så er du jo stadigvæk nede med hvad? Altså 80%, fordi at den originale pris var jo 100. Så at du er kommet tilbage på 18, er jo stadigvæk en enorm tab. Hvad er det, du ikke fatter? Altså, jeg er glad for, at jeg aldrig blev en del af det der. Like videoen. Vi ses i den næste.